Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMTrading. Today is March 4, 2019, and today is Monday morning. So looking at the major events of the day, nothing really scheduled for today. However, tomorrow morning out of Australia, before we give the morning review at 5:30 a.m., we do have a major number coming out of Australia. It's the rate decision by the Royal Bank of Australia, so just be aware of it. And on Friday this week, okay, March 8th, we do have NFP coming out of the United States, so you do want to know about these, specifically these two major numbers that are coming out. Now, looking at the markets and taking a recount, US dollar staying very strong after last week's little rally in the Dow Jones, pushing higher because there's positive outlook that the US and China will come to some kind of trade agreement. Now that sent gold with a big sell-off, okay, below 1300, and oil basically is writing some of Donald Trump's tweets about where he sees the direction of oil on several events. Just very interesting, but we're still within that range of $57 to $55 a barrel. Now looking at the stocks, Apple on the top of the range. Let's see if it does break out today. And lastly, looking at Bitcoin, it sells off sharply, okay, which I've mentioned several times before. I do put it up because a lot of people ask about it, but altogether, cryptos are very hard to trade, especially now. There's not a lot of volume, there's not a lot of participants in it, and as such, they're very volatile and very unpredictable, okay, and we're going to take a look at that in just a moment, but let's see what we could expect from today's trading. So we're going to start out with the Aussie USD, excuse me. We're going to look at the ranges that we've been trading with between 71.90 and 70.86, and as you can see, we're really flirting with this bottom range right here. We're looking at a 4-hour chart of the Aussie USD, like I mentioned, and what I expect from the next 24 hours as this number comes out tomorrow morning is if we see that we're breaking the 70.86, we could certainly see it break further down. Now, I don't like to go into a number with a position. You know, it's never a smart decision to make, but you know, with this said, you know, you do want to follow this to see if it does break lower. If it does, there'll be more momentum even lower. Okay, I do think that if that's going to be the case, if it does break lower, then you're going to see it continue to break lower. I'd rather take that trade than the trade where I'm not as sure that it's going to take lower. Now, if you guys have asked me how come I haven't been following the Euro USD over the past couple of days, it's really my go-to currency pairs normally. It's because it hasn't really traded. Look, we've been in this really tight range between 1380-ish level, 1390-ish level, and 1357. It's a 30 pip range, not tradable. Okay, you could scalp a few points here and there, but it's really hasn't been very pretty. Now let's see what has been really nice. Okay, let's take a look at the USD CAD. Look at that. We're looking at a daily chart. Let's jump to a 4-hour chart, as you can see right there, of the USD CAD. On a 4-hour chart, we had a magnificent move last week from 131.33 to 132.92. Now, this was on the back of last week's number that came out. And, you know, it has been trading really volatile very nicely. I mean, even if to have, you know, chase this up a little bit, we are hitting a little bit of a resistance here at 133-ish level. So just be aware of that. Okay, because if this level doesn't continue breaking out on the high side, we could see a correctional move on the downside. Okay, so altogether, it has been trading quite nicely, and this is really the back of oil. Okay, oil's been trading like a roller coaster over the past week, but before we get to oil, just one more currency pair, USD ZAR. Okay, the dollar getting a lot stronger versus the rand, as you can see here. We rallied quite nicely to this upper range, and we're trading at 14.22. Now, the next real support level is 14 flat. Okay, if we don't break out higher, don't continue this rally on the upside, because you know, although we've, you know, look like we've broken this 14.18-ish level, it has to really show with some momentum. It has to really follow through. So I'm not sure if we'll get that today, but you know, your next retracement level is 14 as the dollar has been getting stronger. Now, I'm not going to jump to the GBP USD because it also hasn't been trading so much, just trickling down only this morning to have this little, you know, bounce off of this level. But really, again, it broke this 132.64-ish level. Perhaps they'll use it as a resistance, you know, but again, it hasn't been trading with some tremendous amount of momentum. So like I said, I'd rather focus on things that are trading. Now, jumping into oil first, you can see that, you know, we had a little bit of a roller coaster last week between this $55 a barrel to $57 a barrel, now back to $55.90. Okay, at this area, it's at the bottom of the range. So despite the fact that Donald Trump has been quote unquote moving the oil market, it hasn't really broken out of its character. Okay, I would have expected to break above $58 or below $54. Okay, and it hasn't. Okay, which is fine for us. Okay, so actually looking at it, it could be a decent buy at these levels and for an anticipated bounce later this week. Now, looking at gold, now this was really the one. All right, now if you guys remember back in November-ish time, we were trading at this area of 1212. We rallied quite nicely as the Dow Jones went the other way. Okay, as the gold rallied, the Dow Jones corrected itself, okay, on the downside, and finally the Dow Jones starts, getting a little bit stronger. We had this little fake out. Okay, even from here, the Dow Jones even got stronger and it looked like it was going to sell off, and it didn't. Okay, but it finally caught up to itself, and we see that it capitulated up at this 1343-ish level, and right now we're trading on 1293. Okay, so now looking at where we are right now, this was previous resistance, this is previous support. So this support at 1293, very important. Okay, it's very important that it maintains this level, doesn't break below it. So I do anticipate a little bit of a bounce here, maybe to the 1305-ish level, okay, in the next couple of days. However, if we do break this 1293, then you know what, bottoms up. Okay, the next real stop is 1270 and 1240. Okay, so these would be my next two areas of support on the downside if this does break this area. So very important to keep an eye on this, because this really could be the major play of the week in terms of the trading volume. Now, looking at the Dow Jones, we had this nice gap up this morning, okay, above 26,000, 26,156-ish level on positive news. Now, I want to see momentum here. I want to see that this continues its rally, because we look like we faltered between this 26,233 and this 25,900-ish level altogether, okay? So, for this to really break out, it's got to take a lot, okay? I don't think that we will, but if we get that confirmation that there is a trade agreement between China and the United States, and I do expect it to break out. However, until that happens, I'm very cautious that we'll be trading between this 26,156-ish level and 26,000. So just be aware of that as we go into today. Now, looking at the other indices, the DAX got stronger as well, above this area of 486-ish level to 11,639, still shy of our all-time highs for the year of 13,000, of course, but making a nice comeback, okay, with some nice trending momentum, with some volume, some follow through. I like that. That means that we may even hit 12,000 before June. Okay, that might actually still happen, so just be aware of it. Now, looking at Apple, it looks like it really flatlined here, but looking at a 1-hour chart, you could pretty much see that we've been trading between this area of 174.49 and 172.78. So got to keep an eye on this to see if it does falter today. If the Dow does sell off, then we might just be back at this 172-ish level. This is easy peasy Japanesey, just trading the ranges on the top side, selling the top, covering the bottom, as this makes a correctional move maybe later today. Okay, so just be aware of that if we do get that, as that trades today. Now, looking next at Bitcoin, okay, and this is what I was talking about. You have these extreme moves, okay? They're really massive and they're obscene. From 3,911 down to 3,666, which sold off just sharply this morning. And this is because there's no volume, okay? This is because this can go down to 2,866. There's no value behind the Bitcoin. It's really supply and demand, and we're not really sure. You can't see all the cards. So I'm very weary about trading it. I'm very weary about covering it as well, because we're not there yet. Okay, it will become mainstream at some point. I'm not sure when, but it will become mainstream at some point. But for now, it's still very volatile, very unpredictable in terms of its liquidity, because it's not trading with a lot of participants. Not a lot of volume means that it has these obscene moves on the upside and the downside. So just be aware of it, but be careful. Okay, be careful as well. This is Fred Razak. Want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.